Here we
And
go.
we're
Here we go. Here
live.
we go. Hey, everybody. There we are. We are live. Well, listen, welcome to the Weekly Wisdom Live brought to you by WOIII, Women of Impact and Innovation International, honoring wisdom while building the next generation of innovative women and leaders. Each month, we will be focusing on one topic, and each week, we will be diving into different aspects of that topic. This month's topic is Women's Healthcare Month, right? So I'm excited about that. My name's Jen Duplessis, and my co-host for tonight's discussion is Nancy Alert. And ironically, we're both on the East Coast, which is fun.
Yes.
This I know. So this week's wisdom show topic is self-care, where we're going to be discussing three things. One, we're going to talk about why self-care is critical to maintain energy levels. Number two, the long-term effects of not taking care of yourself. And three, suggestions for self-care. So if you're joining us, we want to have you start getting involved here and put your information in the chat and just tell us where you're coming from. And of those three things, what of most interest to you? Why self-care is critical to energy levels, the long-term effects of not taking care of yourself, and suggestions for self-care. Well, actually, hold off on those. We'll do those at the end. We'll do those then. Okay, so let's get started, Nancy. How are you doing tonight, by the way? Is it raining where you're at? Because it is where I am.
Yes, it's raining. I'm at National Harbor, but I'm doing fantastic. I'm actually still at my office.
Oh, good. Okay, good. Is your office at National Harbor?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, cool. Okay, because I belong to the Freedom Boat Club, so I go there and get a boat every once in a while. So we'll have to coordinate
the Freedom
that one
Boat
time.
Club.
I'll take you on.
The Freedom
I'll
Boat
take you
Club?
on the Potomac for a little boat cruise.
Oh, nice. Okay.
That's what it's called. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about why. I know. We'll do it. We'll take a boat ride. Why self-care is critical to maintain energy levels. So one of the things that you and I were talking about before we went live here is about sharpening your axe. So talk to us a little bit about what that means to you.
Self-care,
thank you, Sabrina.
Sharpening your axe.
Tell us. Yeah.
Can you hear me? Because I feel like we're overlapping on each other. Do you feel that?
I don't feel it here, but I wouldn't doubt it because it's raining and my internet. I'm out in the country.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, what I'm thinking about the self-care and sharpening your axe is I'm thinking in order for us to do the 5 million things that we do every day and take care of all the people that we take care of and build the bridges and the towns and everything that we do need to sometimes take a moment and just breathe, right? And for me, walking is fantastic. Well, I like to do long walks, and that gives me time to think. And I listen to the best music so that you're in that space. And some of the music I listen to, other than gospel, is Adele. I love her. So that puts me in a nice, calming place. And that's part of my self-care is walking, because it does help me to be able to think better and do all the things I need to do.
Yeah. Well, I know it does. And we're going to talk about a lot of that self-care here in just a few minutes. Speaking about energy levels, one of the reasons why sharpening the axe, or sharpening your axe, came up for me is that, and we all know the story, but the quote is, if I have 6 hours to chop down a tree, I'm going to spend 1 hour sharpening my axe, right? And making sure that it's going to be really easy to get done. And so I think that really helps us with our energy level, right? Because when we are, we want to attract clients. And I think that's something that all of us as women want to do. I mean, who wants to work so hard? I don't want to work hard. I don't want to be chasing people and be like a cat on a marble floor in oil all the time. My energy level goes away, right? I get exhausted. Right. So I want to be able to be in a position where I can attract people. And part of that is making sure that we are sharp, right? Iron sharps iron. And we know that, or, I think that's what saying is, but we know that when our energy level is high, it is explosive all around us. We're unstoppable. And when our energy level gets really low, I mean, who wants to be around people like that, right? And
Right.
so I think that maintaining, this is why self-care is so important, so that it can keep our energy level up all the time. And it's also really good for overall health, right? And I know that you have a little bit of a story about a time when your energy level was really, really low and how that impacted your business. I don't know. Did it help impact your business, your life, your health?
Well,
I
yeah, it
remember when we had
impacts.
you, when you were at my, yeah. Go ahead.
Well, it impacts everything, right? It impacts your work. It impacts your family life, your friends, um, it, everything. Because when your energy is low, then you're positive. You're not peppy. You're not bringing people into you positively, right? Because when your energy is low, you're also probably in a
Right,
negative mindset because you're like grumpy and all of this. So you're not at that point where you're attracting, you have positive
right.
energy beaming out, attracting positive energy. You might be attracting some of the negative energy because that's what you emanating, that's what you're pushing out there, is that negative energy. So what we do need to make sure we maintain that positive energy so it works all around. It works in your house. So when you go home, your spouse and your children are not getting the grumpy you, right? They're not getting just grumpy mommy or grumpy what daddy or whatever because your energy is so low. You had a horrible day and you just came home and you just want to lash out at people because when you're having that
Yeah,
low
yeah.
energy, you're not feeling positive and you're not being productive either because you can't really, you want to just lay down. You want to just lay
Right.
down.
Well, you
And
can't
what I
focus. And I
found,
think,
sorry,
yeah. No, go. What you found. Yeah.
what I was saying, what I found was when I was having that low energy, and it's because I'm a type 2 diabetic and I wasn't taking my medication.
Ooh,
And right. And also, I don't have a thyroid gland, so I need to take Synthroid. If I don't take it, I have no energy because that's what gives me the energy, right? Your thyroid movement. And if you don't take the medication, which is another form of self care, if you don't take the medication and you're
right.
dragging all day. So for me, I was dragging like from about 2 o'clock in the day onwards. And then I realized, okay, you have to take the medication and you have to take some time off. And that's what I did. And then it helped, take your vitamins and stuff like that, and you'll be all right.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that you're saying that too. My husband's a type 2 diabetic, and I've seen that high and low and high and low. And it's really hard to maintain when you have, an overlying health issue on top of just trying to maintain your energy. How, I'm going to ask you this question. How has, or has it ever affected your, you're a real estate broker. So has that ever affected your sales, having that low energy where people just start like, I don't want to work with you? Have you ever seen that you've lost a sale, or that you weren't sharp at a moment and maybe you lost a negotiation on an opportunity? So have you
Well,
had
no,
that because of low energy? Because I know I've had it.
so what has happened is every so I think there's like twice a year, and I was just telling someone this, twice a year when I wake up in the morning, it's like, okay, it's not happening today. Nothing is happening today. I am not leaving
Right,
this bed.
right.
Nothing is happening today. It's about twice a year that happens, and it usually happens for about 2 days. It's like, I'm not doing it. No, I'm not leaving the bed. I'm not doing anything. So, and that's because I'm tired, because I run to the
Yeah.
max every day. And when you run to the max every day, but you're not doing the little things, you're not taking your vitamins, right? You're not walking, you're not exercising, you're not
Getting
eating right.
sleep.
All of this is self-care.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Well,
so
thank you
when
for
you
sharing
decide to
that
take
with
those
us.
2 days and not do anything, you lose clients. Because
That's
if you
good.
know in real estate, if you don't
Yeah.
call them back
Yeah.
immediately, they're gone.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But on the same token, I really think that when your body recognizes, I think it's God's way of saying, hello, I've been giving you all the signs, I've been giving you all the hints. And now I'm going to push you back down on the bed and tell you to take care of yourself. Right. So part of it is maybe you do need it, and that is a self-care mechanism, and some of your clients will love that and some of them won't, and that's okay because you need to be there long term. So I think that's great. So let's talk about long term, the long term effects of not taking care of yourself. One thing that you and I talked about is longevity of life, both the physical and the mental. And I was telling you a little story about my dad and, what his situation was. He always had this saying of, I'd rather wear out than rust out. Right. And let's like dissect that a little bit, because when you're talking about self-care, we don't want to wear out, but at the
Right.
same token, we don't want to have some type of a disease. We don't want to not take care of ourselves today. And all of a sudden, you know how it is when you go to the doctor, they say, now you have this problem, and oh, well, it's been coming on for 15 years. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And if you had only known or taken the steps back then, you could change things. And the thing about Americans is that we tend to rust out. We get disease, we sit in a wheelchair, we have a walker, we don't move, we have back issues, we have whatever happens, knee issues, we gain weight. All of these things happen, and we just rust away for 10 and 20 years of our lives, where those that are in the 5 blue zones, right? The National Geographic book that was written about the 5 blue zones of centurions, where they live.
Right.
One of the things that happens with them is they literally wear out. They live so long that they just wear out. So they live these beautiful lives instead of sitting in a wheelchair in a hospital bed for 20 years. So what are some of the things that you're aware of or that you've seen with people that causes these long-term effects that we don't see today?
Right. So the ones that are rusting out, those are the ones that are sedentary, right? Those are the ones that do not do the self-care. And here is some of the things that people may not think is self-care, right? That will prevent the longevity, the long-term issues is going to having your yearly annual visit with your doctor, right? Have your checkup. And what a lot
Yep.
of people don't realize is your mouth, the oral health is essential to the overall health, because something can be going on in your mouth and then you're feeling aches and pain elsewhere, and it's because of what's going on in your mouth. So what we have to do is preventative, and more importantly, what we don't do that we should do is move, even if it is 20 minutes or 10
Yeah.
minutes, 3 times a day, you have to move. I mean, we are all driving, so we don't walk to anything. So what I do now is just park your car a little further. Just park it a little further. If you go to Whole Foods, if you're here in Virginia and you go to the Whole Foods in Old Town, walk up the steps. It's just 2 flights instead of taking the elevator. You can come down the elevator with the groceries. But when you just walk up the steps, you don't need to take the elevator. And that's another way of self-care. Get a massage. I get one once a month. Get a massage.
Well, I got one today. That's why I look the way I
Yes.
do. I just came back from the massage, and I'm a little sore, so I can't wait to get some heat on this in a few minutes, right? But I just got back from getting a massage. I get one every single month, and I think it's imperative that I do it, because I know if I'm not taking care of myself, someone else is going to take care of me for that moment. And and it's therapy too. If sometimes people go there just to sleep. I am fortunate. I get 8
Because
to
I
9 hours
sleep.
of sleep a night. I love sleeping. I
Oh,
love
Jen, did
sleeping,
you
but
say
some
you get
people
9 hours
go
of
there to
sleep?
get sleep. Yeah, 8 to 9 a night. Yep.
Well,
Yep.
I would like
I
to
am a
tell,
sleeping beauty. I love
I
sleeping.
would like to say this to our listeners. It is essential. I don't get it. I went to my doctor today
Yeah.
and he says, because I was complaining to him that I'm doing everything and I'm not losing the 10 pounds I want to lose, right? I said, I'm eating twigs and leaves, and nothing is happening. And he said, well, how's twigs and leaves? He said, how's your sleep? And I'm like, well, I'm not sleeping well. I don't go to bed early. I go to bed like 3 o'clock in the morning, right? So I never get 7 hours or 6 hours of sleep. And he said, well, that's one of the main reasons.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. My husband chases me in the bedroom. I go, hey, I'm going to bed. He's like, no. And I'm already sleeping. And then I wake up in the morning at 7:30 or 8 o'clock. Right. So
Wow.
I love it. I love it. I want to read something because you and I were doing some research, as we were doing this. So there's 2 studies I want to read real quickly. The first one is a study published by the Archives of International or Internal Medicine found that adults who sat for more than 11 hours a day had a 40% increased risk of dying within 3 years from any cause compared to those who sat for less than 4 hours a day. There's your sign.
There is
right.
Your sign.
I mean, that was amazing. And the second one we were looking at, because we were started looking at, because I knew there were stats on this. So this is from Science Daily. Based on these figures and expected deaths from all causes, the authors calculated that an individual who spends a lifetime average of 6 hours a day watching TV can expect to live just under 5 years fewer than someone else who does not watch TV.
Oh, wow.
So when we think about what we're consuming, right, just watching TV can kill you, right? If you're doing it more than an average of 6 hours a day. And if someone, eats dinner, sits down at the TV at 7 o'clock and doesn't go to bed till 2, they're watching TV, right, for 6 hours. And it's scary. It's just shaving 5 years off your life. And, my daughter just had a baby, 3 weeks ago. And what if I wasn't around 5 years? That 5 years can make a big difference. And, the thing that you and I were talking about is all these ailments and these, bone issues and eyesight issues, your heart, obviously, just from being sedentary and sitting in these chairs that we're sitting in for Zoom. And now that the pandemic is over, everyone thinks that this is the norm. So I've tried as much as I can to just have phone calls so I can walk around. So I don't have to be tied to the desk, So I love that. But, again, it may not seem important today, but, like I said, my dad was a smoker. He was an alcoholic, and he was a contractor. So he was moving all the time, but he had an instant heart attack and died, right? Just instantly. And you never know what that's coming. And I'm thankful because he wore out. He didn't rust out. He could have been carrying a machine around with him all his life. So thankfully that happened. But okay, so let's go. We have a few minutes left. So let's go back. Let's go to our third topic, which is suggestions for self-care. So now if you're watching here, start putting in what you're doing for self-care. We'd like to get a collaboration of what everyone's doing for self-care. So Nancy, what do? You mentioned walking, but what else do you do? And massages.
So I do a lot of walking, and I do the massages, and I do some meditation. I love meditating. It took me a while to get to that space where I could quiet my mind, but if I can do it, anyone can do it, because my mind, it used to and still does. It goes 24 hours a day nonstop. But if you can sit in that still space and just clear your mind, it is so helpful. And I just learned from speaking with you that really sitting in front of the TV for 6 hours, really taking 5 years out of your life. Girl, I'm shutting the TV down, because except when I'm binge watching, right? But I'm going to shut the TV down because
except
we can do so much more.
for 17 hours, right?
We can
Yeah.
read
Yeah, you
instead of
can.
sitting
And
there.
you could stretch, right?
Yeah.
I have a vibration plate. And by the way, gals, if you don't have a vibration plate, get one. They are the coolest things in the world. You can get it on Amazon. And I think I paid $170 for mine. I got a nice one. But in between meetings, I stand up and I stand on my vibration plate, right? And it vibrates my body so that blood starts flowing. Things start, start happening. And you know how when you run, remember when you were in high school and you ran and your legs would itch because you were running, or something would itch, and that's a
The
sign of
endorphins,
dehydration.
as
So
they
it's a good
say.
sign for me, because if I get yeah. So when I get on that and it's 5 minutes and I get off 5 minutes, I'm going, oh my gosh, my love handles are itching and stuff. It's a sign that I'm not hydrated enough. So I go and grab another glass of water before I sit down and do another Zoom meeting, right? I'm constantly gauging and measuring how I'm feeling and what I'm doing. And I think that's really so important. There's a couple things that you do that I want to remind you to share with everyone. And one of them is that you go to a hotel once a month.
I do. Okay, so I started this when I was actually married. We actually used to, each other would pick a different restaurant every month, and a hotel every month, and we would go have dinner to this different restaurant, different food, and enjoy room service at the restaurant. And I still do that once a month. I pick a hotel somewhere in the DC metro area. Sometimes I drive a little further out, and I just spend a night, and maybe two sometimes, but most of the time it's just one night I spend there. I enjoy room
Yeah.
service, and I love that. I love the beds, and just love the feeling of not being at home, not thinking about, oh shoot, I should do the laundry, I should make the bed, I should put those shoes in the closet, I should hang those clothes up. I
Right.
don't. Yeah, that
That's
works great
true.
for me.
That's true. And it calms your mind, more than anything. The other thing that you do that I think is really important with self care, and of course I do this too, is you spend a lot of time with your friends and family. So tell us some of the things that you're doing with your family and your friends.
So this is so important to me, because I believe when you have friends, it's a relationship that needs nourishment. It's not like, oh, we're friends, and I call you when I need something, or whenever I think about it I call you. No, we're friends, and I need to check in with you, especially my single friends, to see how you're doing. How was your week? Is everything good? To make sure you're mentally okay, you're physically okay, you're emotionally okay. And then once a week, especially in the warm months, we go out. When it's not so warm, is once or twice a month. We go somewhere, have dinner, have brunch. That is so important to me, to connect with my core group of friends. It's essential. It's essential.
Yeah. Yeah. And for me, it's all about family, right? We live so far in the country. It's so hard for me to get together with any girlfriends unless I'm traveling for speaking or whatnot. And for me, it's all about family. And I'm one of 36 first cousins. So I have a plethora. You should see. Matter of fact, I was just rewriting my whole calendar. It only took me till May, but to rewrite all the birthdays, all the anniversaries, all the stuff that I have with my family. And we have over 700 different activities throughout the year based on birthdays and anniversaries, et cetera, with this family as it continues to grow. And I love doing that because it forces me every single day to be texting or calling or reaching out to somebody, connecting on social media, all of my family members for their birthdays, my cousins, my second cousins, my third cousins. And especially my uncle. He's 90 years old, and I love reaching out and talking to him. And he just tells me the same thing over and over because he can't forget. He keeps forgetting. But I think family is good. So, okay, so here's what I do. And I'm still waiting for people to put in the chat. What do you do? What do you do to give yourself self-care? So number one for me is dancing, baby, dancing. You know, I'm a ballroom Latin and swing dancer, so I love dancing. And it is a great way. As soon as I, you know, I have Spotify sitting here on my computer, and I pop it on real quick, and I hope to do, you know, dance around. I love dancing. I love walking. I'm out in the country, so I love walking. I do walk with my concealed weapon because we do have bears and a lot of stuff out here, so I have to be careful. Affirmations, you know, affirmations, and I want to talk about those. Stretching, massages, like I've been doing, sleeping, definitely, and you know, connecting. But affirmations, I think, are really powerful. The problem I see with affirmations for a lot of people is if you go to Pinterest and you print one off and you go, oh, those look good, those will be my affirmations. They need to have some depth to them, and I think that's where the self-care is missing in affirmations. If you say, I'm powerful, okay, where are you powerful? No, what does that mean to you that you're powerful? Are you powerful in the mind? Are you powerful in the physical? Are you powerful because you command people? Knowing what your affirmations truly mean for you, I think is the better self-care than just reciting words that someone printed on a piece of paper. Yeah. And those are my thoughts, you know, my thoughts on that. But so dancing, I see Sabrina said dancing and walking. Yeah. Dancing and walking. There, you can do this. You can do them together at the same time if you want.
Dancing is good. Dancing is good.
It is. You know, I go to one lesson and I get 10,000 steps in, so I don't have to do anything the rest of the day. Right? I get my 10,000 steps in just at one lesson.
10,000 steps.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a thing too. You know, I think the key thing is self-care is different for everyone. You know, sometimes it's reading, sometimes it's taking a nap, sometimes it's doing energetic things. And that's what's really, really important, you know. And yeah, Sabrina said self-care is eating healthy. Yeah. And I think you all know I'm vegetarian. So I eat very healthy. And make sure that I'm, you know, the other thing I do is I watch what goes in my mouth. And when people say that, it's fun. Sometimes we just look down and we've eaten a bag of chips, right? I'm really very cognizant of what's coming in my mouth, to savor the taste, to realize what it is and be grateful and have gratitude for it. And, you know, so that's a really good point, Sabrina. But I think the key thing here, ladies, is self-care for you is different than what it is for me. Your needs are different than what Nancy has, right? Wouldn't you agree, Nancy? And, you know, I always say this, be as good to yourself as you are to your business, right?
And
to your business clients, or to other people. You have to be,
because sometimes
you have to be just as good to yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sometimes we're better to others than we are to ourselves. And you, like you said, self-care is different for everyone. So pick something, one thing, two things, and that helps you relax, helps you breathe, right? Helps you get your blood flowing, right? Do something that makes you smile, makes you feel good, makes you feel better about who you are, where you are, what you're doing.
Absolutely.
All right?
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned breathing. Yeah, you mentioned breathing. That's something I do all the time too that I forgot about, is that you know, watch people as they're on these calls. Now I'm cognizant of it, right? But taking a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And why? Because we have hairs in our nostrils for a reason. It's a filter. It's a filter for us to filter in good air, and we exhale it out of our mouth. So be mindful of taking deep breaths throughout the day. That's so, so important. And it changes your state. And that's important too, because we can get so ingrained in this work and be at our desks for 11 hours. And I think we all know that we don't want to be there anymore. So, you know, I'm happy to say it. But, you know, Nancy, it's been great having a conversation. I just want to say thank you to everybody who's listening in and watching. And I know some of you may be watching the rerun of this, the recording of it. And we just want to say thank you so much, and continue to put your comments in, even if you're watching the recording of it. So with that, Nancy, I'm going to let you close us out.
All right. It was great chatting with you, Jen. I love being here. And thank you for joining us today. And we hope today's innovative nuggets and wisdom has inspired you to take action towards an even better, greater life. Please put a reminder in your calendar to check our Facebook group for announcements about our weekly wisdom with your WOIII sisters, so you don't miss anything, okay? If it's not weekly, excuse me. If weekly is not
If
enough,
weekly
then
is
you can
not enough.
also join us. You can also join us and be a part of our vision of being in an innovative, resourceful global initiative through the leaders and passionate disruptors that we have at WOII. You can become an ambassador or you can become a VIP member. Have a great week and live unapologetically with honor, gratitude, and disruption. Remember, keep rising. You are powerful. Have a great week.
Yeah, I love that. And don't forget to go, yeah, and don't forget to go to women, not just one, women, OIII.com to get information about being part of our organization and doing all the wonderful things that we're doing. And Nancy, it was so great catching up with you today. And I hope you're staying dry because we're both in the rain right now. So I hope you're staying dry. And don't call me at 1 o'clock in the morning to chit chat because I'll be sleeping.
Okay. Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.